Welcome to What Are We Playing This Week, the show where I try and recommend to you a couple of games based on certain criteria, and today's criteria is combat racing. Yes, the classical genre of combat racing where you mix racing games with shooting people with missiles, or machine guns, or turtle shells if you're more sadistic. Now this genre has its origins way back in the days of Auto Duel, I believe, I'm not sure, I don't really care, so let's get to it. The first game I'm gonna recommend to you is still in early access. It's called Grip. I've been looking forward to this game for about 10 years now at least, mostly because it was around that time that I realized probably no other game will come close to what Roll Cage Stage 2 had to offer. So, the best I can look forward to would possibly be Roll Cage Stage 3, but because they don't have the rights to the name, they just made Grip. It's made by partially the same people. This is a game where you get to race two-sided cars that can't flip over permanently. I mean, yeah, you can flip over, but you can just still keep going. That are able to go at speeds that exceed 400 kilometers an hour, meaning they can drive on the roof of a tunnel, and you have to do that constantly in some areas. And they're also equipped with missiles, machine guns, bombs, shields, and more to come depending on how the early access phase progresses. Currently there are only two cars in the game, well, two cars that have different statistics. They have each 12 individual skins. You have 5 race modes, 8 levels, 4 weapons, 3 power-ups, and sadly you don't have the ability to play it online yet. You do have single player and split screen co-op, because that's what the original had and it was amazing. You can find this game on Steam right now for 16 euros, and the developer has stated that they will not sadly add the mode of play that allowed you to shoot rockets at a giant boulder and a sort of game of soccer, which was present so many years ago in Roll Cage Stage 2 and is now popularized by Rocket League, which doesn't let you shoot missiles at things. You just have rockets strapped to your car, which just isn't the same thing. But this game does have rockets that you can shoot at other cars while going at about 700 kilometers an hour on the roof of a tunnel in outer space, or at least on Mars. Up next is Carmageddon Reincarnation. Boy, this has been a game long in the making as well. Now some people may have issues running this on AMD cards. I know my friend Raul that owns this channel has problems running it. He can't run it at all, and people seem to have performance issues with it across the board, which is strange because I haven't run into any of them on my rig, though yeah, the old one could not run it almost at all. But if you can run it, this is Carmageddon, well, as Carmageddon as it can get. You have different racing types that will let you run over people, kill people, run over cars, smash into cars, smash cars into other cars, use all sorts of interesting power-ups to blow up stuff, and just have fun along the way. The only gripe I have with it is that it tends to have a campaign that's not entirely centered around Carmageddon-like racing. It also has normal racing, like mandatory normal racing in a Carmageddon game like TDR 2000 had, which is a bit of a crime against humanity. I mean, you have a Carmageddon game, why racing? Yeah, it's a combat racer, but it's not the actual racing here we're for. We're for the carnage, the combat, the blowing up people with electro bastard rays part. Still, if you want a modern take on Carmageddon that looks quite well actually, and the cars behave, well, at first they behave like crap. They've always behaved like crap before you put about 5 or 10 upgrades in them. You can find this game on Steam now for 25 euros, or if you want the old ones, you can find them just about anywhere starting from about 9 euros, though as I can see here on Steam, TDR 2000 is just a bit over 4 euros. It would seem that people still don't like that one. And the last game I'm gonna recommend to you is the one that for me saved the combat racing game. I mean, for years, like years, every game that came out in the genre was kinda meh. There was 1 or 2 a year and they were meh. Then I mean total meh. Like, They try to be racing games with some power-ups and weren't that good. They try to be combat games with no actual racing and were even worse. And then Gas Guzzlers came along and fixed everything. The updated version of it, Gas Guzzlers Extreme, is available on Steam for, well, right now it's on sale. Well, the sale will be over by the time you see this, but right now it was available for just €4.50 or at full price for €23. It also has some DLC that adds a zombie mode if you just want to go around smashing zombies. Some zombies are gigantic and have rocket launchers, by the way, but even without the zombies it's still worth the purchase because this game gives you racing, like good racing, with all sorts of interesting cars. I mean, the original had a Reliant Robin, this one has a Trabant. Not sure how you would say Trabant in English if you have another word for it, but it's definitely central to Eastern European in the way it's made. There's a track set in Zagreb. How cool is that? Also, the cars have a bunch of weapons. They have machine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, nuke launchers, mine launchers. And the tracks are great because although they are not open worldish like Armageddon has, they do have all sorts of side pathways. Some of them allowing you to get a really large lead on your opponents, but requiring actual driving skill. Like there's this one bit in a mountain pass on an alpine track where if you don't brake at the right time and just go into a slide to take that corner, you will not gain any lead, or you will end up crashing and lose everything you've had before. Well, if you were in last place, you didn't lose much, so no biggie there. But it's a game that rewards good driving, good combat skills, and, well, it's a lot of fun. It also has combat arena style game modes where you don't have to worry about racing and just going around picking up stuff and blowing up everyone. This is a game I highly recommend no matter the price. Well, that's it for today's edition of What Are We Playing This Week. Tune in next time for more gaming recommendations with 100% less racing, but 100% more combat. No, actually, yeah, one of them does have a bit of racing, so 70% less racing maybe? Yeah, that sounds better. If you enjoyed this show, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Or, if you thought it was horrible, then share it with your enemies and make them suffer. We shall be your weapon of vengeance. But if you liked what you saw, you could, I don't know, maybe donate, because basically YouTube is horrible at revenue, by using the link in the description, or just buy my book. It's a fantasy book about, well, a lot of stuff. I guarantee it won't suck, and if it does suck, you can find me here and complain about it.